Welcome to the adventures of the Dark Horse. As this crazy year comes to a close, we've chosen 4 episodes of our Dark Horse story to encourage us all as we look into 2021. You see, the Dark Horse is a picture of any one of us who unexpectedly wins. He's a picture of grace. It's also a picture of great courage running into danger. And certainly that's the way it looks like we're facing in the year ahead. And so we chose this story to be an encouragement to all of us as an allegory, a metaphor of the courage, the insight, and the hope that we will need to face into 2021. Our story is read by our good friend Bob Souer, professional voiceover artist, and our reader as well on the unabridged version, audio version of Dark Horse, which we will be giving away as part of our end of the year campaign. But more on that later. For now, enjoy the story.
He's the one who no one thought could make it through. He's the one who looks a lot like me and you. But he can hear it when the Spirit tells him where to go and what to say, 'cause he knows that he can never be free when he's going his own way. From the song Dark Horse by John Fisher. For as long as I can remember, I had always wanted to be a white horse. I wasn't all white, but I was more white than most horses I knew, and in the most important places, so that if I stood at an angle with my white leg out and my head slightly cocked, all you could see was white. It was for this reason that I decided to check myself into a special ranch where they trained horses like me to think, walk, and prance like white horses. We learned how to make the most of our white parts, how to pose so as to show the most amount of white without looking unnatural. This was harder for some than for others, like the horse that had a beautiful white rump and tail, which unfortunately meant he had to present himself backwards all the time. Encouraged by the care and preening of our trainers, I began to form quite an attachment to my own whiteness, almost as if it were glowing with a light of its own. But of course it was easy to become white-minded at a school where everything revolved around being white. From the fenced pasture of the White Horse Ranch, we would occasionally see small bands of wild horses moving across the plains in the distance. Seeing them always gave me a curious, restless sort of feeling. What would it be like to be out there? But then I would remember that whiteness could not be important out on the plains. It would be impossible to maintain. I was obviously dedicating myself to the true glory of horses, being white. Until my encounter with a wild dark horse changed everything. It happened during one of our regular white horse shows when we were able to see real white horses in all their splendor. It was during one of these shows that I first met him. Have you ever seen a white horse? The nicker came from behind me, so softly that only I could hear. I turned my neck to lay eyes on the most startling horse, wild as a prairie storm, dark as the night plains. Suddenly it came to me. He was the dark horse I had seen a few times outside the pasture fence. Once he came near enough for me to strike up one of my more impressive rehearsed poses, thinking he would be impressed by my whiteness. But he simply chewed on a mouthful of grass he had torn up from under our fence and looked me straight in the eyes. That look, I've never been able to erase it from my memory. It had a piercing clarity that seemed to burn even from a distance. And now, up close, that look was making me very uncomfortable. It was as if he were looking right through my eyes into my very soul. Have you ever seen a white horse? He repeated. Well, of course. Isn't this a white horse show? But have you ever seen a white horse? I see the white horses that come in the show, and some of us here at the ranch are almost all white. Have you ever walked completely around a white horse? Look at that horse right now in the spotlight, he said. Do you see all of him? And watch. When he's through posing, he'll walk off in darkness. Do you see? The light only shines on the pose, not on the real horse. Suddenly it all seemed so hollow, useless, lifeless. And then, with a new light that was already illuminating my thoughts, I saw in an instant the folly of this whole procedure. How foolish that it had never occurred to me before. I wasn't going to get any whiter by being at this ranch, only more clever at appearing white. I looked back again at the dark horse, and his eyes were dancing with excitement. He knew what I was going through. Without even speaking, he was willing me to ask the ultimate question that would undermine everything. Do you mean to tell me there are no white horses? No, he replied. There is one. You mean the white one? Of course. He is the only white horse there ever was or ever will be. But aren't we supposed to be like the white one? It was another horse from the ranch speaking, for there was now a small group listening in on our conversation. Yes, said the dark horse, but whiteness is not on the outside. It is in the heart. White isn't what you look like. It's what you do when you follow the will of the white one. You cannot change a hair on your body, but he can change your heart and shine his light in your eyes. Why then do we have white horse shows? I asked. What's the point? He just looked at me, and his eyes said the obvious. There is no point. He was becoming restless, as if my question had finally brought our discussion to the conclusion he was seeking. He pawed the ground, tossing his head up and down with anger. There are thousands of horses out there who have never heard of the white one, and there is an enemy afoot, crouching at the door, while you waste your time comparing whiteness. At that, he reared back, and his cry was a mighty thing. If you would follow the white one, then follow me. Just that quickly he was gone, vaulting 2 fences and galloping hard toward the open plains. To be continued.
What would you do? Would you follow the dark horse into the dark unknown? Or would you stay back with what you know? Would you trust someone who had none of the external signs you would expect in a spiritual giant, but had passion and clarity of his or her heart, a strong sense of direction, and an inner light? Would you link up with someone as fallible as you, but who has the same Lord? Will you join us then in supporting this cause of discipleship across the globe? Boots on the ground, dark horses in 143 countries. We are facing a huge unknown in 2021. Everyone seems to be so happy to soon be rid of 2020, but there's no guarantee 2021 is going to be any better. Yet, whatever happens, we can make a difference because we have hope. In our story, over the last few days here of 2020, we will find out how imperfect dark horses go through difficult times. Even how to lead when you aren't quite sure what you're doing. That's because there are no perfect people. There is only you and me and the perfect one in us, loving us, accepting us, and driving us on to greater heights and adventures. We can face 2021 because we are dark horses and we will win. We are flying into the next year on the heels of those who know the secret of Christ in you, the hope of glory. Join us for this great adventure of faith and learning, and join us in our end of the year campaign to raise $15,000 by midnight, December 31st. Your end of the year contribution is what will keep us going into 2021 and ensure the gospel of welcome, grace turned outward, keeps going the world over, and that real, honest, vulnerable leaders will be given courage to head straight for whatever the new year holds. And as a special thank you to all who contribute, we would like you to have an audio download of the complete novel Dark Horse, read by professional voiceover artist Bob Souer, as well as a download of the complete remastered 10-song album Dark Horse. Yours free for an end-of-the-year contribution of $20 or more. And look for the next episode of our story, coming soon, very soon, to find out who follows the Dark Horse out of the White Horse Ranch. See you then.